Did you ever wonder how photographers produce phenomenal photos and iconic ones? Photography is a form of art, and here are three important quick steps to become an effective photographer. First, you gotta know the basics of your camera. How do you use your own camera? Second, you gotta plan and visualize the photos you wanna take. And lastly, you have to post-process your photos to make sure you produce them good. These three steps help me every time I go out on a photo shoot, and it made me a good and decent photographer. First, you have to know the basics of your camera and how do we use it. The first few things that normally a camera has is the manual mode, the shutter mode, and the aperture mode, and also the program mode. Normally, a person would just grab a camera and put it in auto, which they don't really know how to use the other modes. The first mode is the program mode. This gives your camera the ability to do everything for the photographer. You're not really an actual photographer if you're using program mode because you don't know what your camera is doing. But if you know what the camera was doing, it's pretty much setting your aperture and your shutter and how much light your camera will get. The A stands for aperture mode. The aperture mode allows the photographer to set the camera in a point where they have the person focused, but the background can be blurry because of the depth of field. The S stands for shutter. This mode allows more photographer to take action pictures, where you show like a ball moving or a ball in the air. By putting your shutter mode, your camera on a shutter mode, you can either put it in a slow shutter mode where it will blur out the object, or if you put it on a high shutter mode, it will freeze anything on the picture. And lastly, the manual mode. It pretty much gives you the both options of setting your aperture and your shutter. So after you set your camera, now you want to foresee what photos you're going to take, what photos you want to visualize, and how you're going to plan your shoot. First, think of the theme of the shoot. Is it a wedding? Is it a birthday? Is it some event that your friends are doing a party? After you figure out what theme you want to do, you're gonna want to lay out your photos. You can either draw a stick man in a paper of, oh, I want this person on the left side and I want the other person on the right side. With that, you see where you want to position yourself when you're taking a photo. And then you ask yourself, what mode do I put my camera on? Is there going to be a lot of action? Would I want to show action in the photo, or do I want to show aperture on the photo of just focusing on one person, or focusing the people and blurring everything out in the background? And lastly, you need to position yourself at the right time and where you're going to take your shot. While doing so, remember that what you drew on the paper and the stick, don't forget to set your camera mode, and it just takes that one right moment to get that shot. Now, doesn't it sound way easier than holding just a regular camera and not knowing what to do? And this will lead us to the post-processing. Sometimes your photos doesn't come out good, but there are ways like Photoshop that you can actually fix your pictures and make it look better and the way you want it to look like. You don't have to be a Photoshop expert either. You can either just do simply a magic wand trick, or a crop and just remove something out of the background that you don't want to be in the picture. Now you achieve the photo product that you want. You have successfully learned these steps in becoming an effective photographer. All in all, photography is not really a complicated art. All you need are these three simple quick steps. You know the basics of your camera and how to use it. You visualize and plan your photos, and post-process your photos. Just like how Steve McCurry took this photo in 1984. This is a regular girl, and it wasn't a famous person. It was just a Pakistani girl that was there at the time, and it wasn't a historical moment where a man walked on the moon, But here, this is how you become an effective photographer. Thank you.